Before we get started, I wanted to give a quick heads up. This episode includes discussions of sibling loss, grief, death, trauma, mental health, and addiction. You'll also hear us laugh, sometimes at things that probably don't sound funny. If you never experienced this kind of loss, that might feel strange. But for many of us, dark humor isn't disrespectful, it's survival. When you've lived through enough loss, sometimes joking is the only thing keeping you from falling apart. It doesn't mean we loved our brothers any less. If anything, it's because we loved them so deeply. This conversation isn't meant to make light of anyone's loss. It's about love, memories, and those unique lifelong bonds between siblings. So, whether you're grieving a sibling or simply here to listen and understand, we're grateful you're here. This is Unhealed Siblings. Let's get started. Welcome to Unhealed Siblings, a series within Unfiltered, Unhealed, created for the siblings left behind. If you're new here, this isn't a show about finding closure. It's not about getting over loss. It's about telling the truth about what happens after, what happens during, when the funeral is over and everyone else seems to move on while you're still trying to figure out how to exist in a world without your brother or sister in it. The one person who was always assumed to be there from beginning to end. So we're going to start doing these Deaf Brother episodes. First of all, I have to ask you something. Is the Dead Brothers Club insensitive?
I don't think so, but that's just my...
See, I don't think so either.
Has somebody said it was?
I asked the same question.
Well, somebody be on the outside looking in.
Okay, so I guess I'll have to ask more people their opinion. Because I don't want to be insensitive, but I also know I can kind of come
but
off
that's what it is.
insensitive. Is it insensitive?
No, I'm saying that they're dead.
They're dead.
Dead. They're gone.
But I don't know, like, if it's just me and you, like, maybe are we that desensitized to death that we're sitting here laughing over this?
I'm saying,
I
like,
can't even say the word.
that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, like, you have to understand. I don't want to say I'm desensitized to death, but I'm probably more desensitized to death than
other people. That's my mom. Oh my God. When my brother first died, she got so mad at me when I said he died. Don't say that. Mom, he's dead.
What exactly do you want me to say?
He's not here anymore. Like, I couldn't, I mean, it sucks to say it.
He's passed.
He's passed. That is, I guess, a better way to say it.
That's a proper way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But ultimately,
He died.
he's dead.
He's dead.
He ain't alive.
Not here no more.
Nope, not no more. Not walking earth.
They're just facts.
Absolutely.
Sorry. I don't know. Why do you think we deal with that so well? Is that dealing with it well, though?
Or is it dealing with it at all?
Yeah, is it avoiding it?
I think it might be avoiding it.
Avoiding it. I mean, I've been upset over it. I'm upset over it, right?
My dead brothers?
Yeah. Yeah, it's sad. Of course, of course. My best friend.
Are you trying to convince yourself it's sad?
Like, no, because I'm sitting here like, am I being insensitive to my dead brother?
I
feel like he's laughing at me right now.
I don't feel like my brothers would be upset if I said they were dead.
I mean, so yeah, my brother literally told me when he was alive, if he died, he said, don't pay for a hearse, a funeral, or a casket. He said, tie him to the back of his truck and drive around with him waving to people. That's what he wanted us to do. I don't think he cares.
Well, here's my thought on being dead. In that sense, it don't affect you.
The person that died?
Yeah, it don't affect the person that's dead.
Yeah.
They're dead. They're done. Like, there's nothing. They're not hurting. They're not.
No.
They're nothing.
But I think they're spirits. I mean, you don't think that you've had shit happen.
Well, no,
or energy.
I think there is. I mean, but I've never thought deep enough into the whole spirit thing to know, like, the thing about, do they have feelings or are they emotional? Like, I don't feel like they should be upset, but maybe that's just me. I'm not dead, so I don't get the right to say how dead people should feel. I feel like people that don't lose their brother don't get to say how I should be able to speak or feel it. But I know, like, when my brother Westley passed away, he first got his headstone. We went to the graveyard. My mom wanted pictures, and she asked me to post the pictures on Facebook for her. So I did, and I was okay with doing that because my mom had asked me to do that. And then my brother Steven commented on it, pissed off that I posted these pictures on Facebook, like, oh, some of us are trying to still deal with this, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, Okay, good for you. Don't tell me what I can and cannot do because I was there the whole time, all the time. You came around whenever you felt like it, was just barely minimum.
But
So
nonetheless, don't tell the grieving mother
right,
he done.
right. But my mother asked me to do this. And my mother wants this done. This is what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
That was her son she lost.
Okay, so here's a question I think about a lot. Do you think we deal with it like this and we don't grieve because we do what we need to for our brothers? We're that sister. Like, even though you were younger, you know what I mean? You got that older sister mentality thing. So we took care of the kids, we took care of the parents, we took care of their spouses and like all
But
that
no, I can
shit.
tell you that's exactly why I have always been the way I am. I've always looked at it as, yeah, that might be my brother, but that was my mom's son. That was this one's dad. That was this one's whatever. That's how I've always looked at it. Like, it's not to take away from me. It was what kept me from dealing with it, to be honest.
That and I'm doing it on my brother's behalf. Like I'm doing
But it's
this
not
for
healthy.
him. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess it's not healthy.
It's not healthy. And I mean, I'll be the
No,
first one to tell you, it's not healthy.
no.
It's not good. We have to deal with it eventually. But to keep me from dealing with it, that's what I did.
Does that need though? And how do you deal with it?
If I knew how to deal with it, I would have dealt with it.
Dive into like old pictures and just submerge yourself.
I guess everybody would have
Yeah.
their own way of dealing with it.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with it either. That's all I'm asking. I don't even know how I would begin to deal with it.
Me neither.
But like at this
Well,
point, I've
first you
dealt
have to
with it.
accept it.
Well, that's been accepted, right?
Okay.
We accept it. I mean, we talk about it factually.
Yeah, we've accepted it.
We've accepted it.
Don't ask me. I'm only
Did
19
you
years
go
into
through
this.
like the anger and all those stages of grief, like the
Oh, absolutely.
denial? Yeah,
Absolutely, all of them.
yeah.
Every
Yeah,
one of them.
I didn't go through denial.
I don't know about denial. Anger, absolutely. When Westley died, the day he died, I went up to my acquaintance's house to let her know that Westley had passed. And I was standing on her porch, and these drug addicts come walking down the street. And I know now that I was wrong. But I was, at that time, so mad. It was like, why are you still alive when you're out here doing this? And my innocent brother, who did nothing wrong in life, who worked and everything else, is dead. So I hated every crackhead in the world at that moment. And I'm sitting there saying this on her porch real loud, like, I can't stand a crackhead. I can't. And she's like, I have to live here. Can you calm down over here? Like, I understand you're upset, but I need you to calm down over here. So that was with Wesley. Now with Steven, it was a whole different anger, but that was an anger towards my family. I wanted to blame everybody and anybody that was there for what happened to him. Michael, I think I was more angry with myself because I never accepted his apologies and I held that grudge for so long that no matter how many times he apologized, I never accepted it. And the day before he died, the last time I seen him alive, I gave him the finger. So I think I was more angry with myself, with Michael, than anything because of the relationship that I didn't allow to have with him.
We always think there'll be more time.
Yeah, you know.
Siblings are supposed to be here with you.
Well, honestly, at that time, not realizing the hurt that I would go through if something did happen to him. And then once something happened to him, of course,
Well, how old were you? You were 8?
I was 21 when Michael died.
He was first.
Yeah.
That was Joseph.
Yes, Michael died when I was pregnant with Joseph.
Then Wesley died. Was Zeke?
Right after I had Zeke. A month and a half later.
Was anybody born when Stephen died?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so you've experienced a lot of loss in your life.
That's like,
But not everybody, though. Like some people,
well,
been more
well,
fortunate
that's
in that
what I
department.
say. Coming from a big family is it's a good thing. I love having a big family, and we were always close. Not as close nowadays, but the bad part about coming from a big family is they all must feel at some point in time.
Yeah.
And yes, I happen to be one that had to go through a lot of loss. Being a younger person, I mean, I know people my age that haven't lost nearly as many people as I have. People older than me that hasn't lost as many people as I have. So I think the first person I remember was my pop. And I don't remember at that point in time really thinking much of it. Like I knew
How
it's
old
like
were you?
I was about 9 when he died. I remember when he was sick. Actually, I remember before that. I had a couple other memories of being at the house, of being outside playing and stuff like that. Because I remember they had one of them like big green box, electrical box thing that you're not supposed to play on, but we sat
That
on
was
all the
based
time.
and everything. Yeah, I had one of them too, bitch.
We get in trouble all the time. Like you're not supposed to be on there. Get off of there.
Nobody told us to get off of there. We lived on that. Now I know what's wrong with most of us.
When my grandfather got real sick, that's when he moved in. Moved in with Westley. He took care of a cemetery. It's on the other side of the tunnel. Not too far from Curtis Bay and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't think it was on hospice, but I mean, I don't know. Because again, I was young. I remember like
Maybe it was like that version of hospice back then. I don't know if they had nurses that took care of you at home.
at that time, because like, even my mom, like, she didn't realize that like hospice would come to the house. So when he started talking about hospice, she thought she had to put him in hospice. She's like, "I'm not doing that." I'm like, "I
Yeah.
know they have hospice now." Because
She had an experience.
back in the day, it was always you had to put them in hospice.
Yeah, or they let you bring him home, right? Like they would, or they made you.
I don't think it made you put them in
Oh,
hospice,
yeah,
but if
we
you
know
wanted them to
about
be
it.
comfortable and not be in pain, you put them in hospice. I'm assuming.
They gave you drugs back then.
To go home with?
Back then, they gave you
Yeah, but
morphine and shit.
they gave you morphine to go home with?
Yeah, morphine was a big thing. And people would get heroin for their headache.
Oh, really?
Cocaine was for toothaches. Like
Yeah.
the pharmacist gave them this.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, that actually was probably further back. Cocaine and heroin. That was for
Probably.
that was the Cowboy Days.
Right.
Okay?
Probably.
I went too far back there. But morphine, yes, they weren't so stingy back then. It wasn't.
Well, things are different now.
Yeah.
Because people are getting it just to be get high. But yeah, he went and he stayed there, and even when he was sick, we'd still go to my grandmother's every weekend. They'd still play cards. But when my grandfather passed, like everything went downhill from there. He was like the
Together.
glue that held all that together. I remember in 2005, I went to 10 funerals.
Wow. That was before drugs.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
before
well,
drugs.
that was like before drugs start wiping people out.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
No. Yeah.
unfortunately now it's kind of like, oh, what's 10 funeral? Huh? But that's crazy.
I think my most memorable death. Well, I can't say that most memorable. Like when my cousin passed away, I'll never forget how that went down. You know, she was young and she was having seizures. At this point, we're just making her comfortable. She was in the hospital. We knew she was passing. Her mom and dad were there. We were all in the room. My aunt came with her sister, and her sister was ready to leave. And I was like, we're going to go smoke while we're down there. So they left out the room. We're all sitting up talking and opened her eyes, looked around the room, closed her eyes, and I assumed at that point she was gone. Her aunt was standing right next to her, and she's like, "Somebody's gotta get him." And we're all, like, kinda, like, looking at each other. And they're like she's like, "Somebody's gotta get him." Yeah, and I was like, "Alright, I will." But then, like, I drew a blank. So I went running out the room, and I go to the elevator, but I can't remember where I'm going. I couldn't remember where they were.
Yeah.
Now I get my thoughts together. I'm like, "Okay, they were walking up to the car. I'm gonna smoke." So first I started heading towards the parking garage, and I'm like, "No, let me go see." And at this point in time, they should have already gotten them there. So I went to where they would be smoking because,
Yeah.
back in the day, at smoking sections, you didn't
Yeah.
have to leave the property to smoke a cigarette.
Mhm.
I went out and I said, "You gotta come up to the room." And Maria was like, "Is everything okay?" I was like, "I don't know. You gotta come to the room." And we got on the elevator. She kept asking me, "Is she gone?" "I don't know. You gotta go to the room." Because I just didn't have it in me to tell this woman, "Your baby's gone." So we got up on the floor. I stayed out in the waiting room. They went into the room. My thing was give them their time.
It was
So give them their time with her. The hospital ended up putting us in the break room.
because there's too many of y'all.
Yeah, you put us in their break room, and that's when I had to call my mom. Like at this point, I'm over in the corner by myself. You gotta call my mom. I don't know what's going on. So I call my mom and I start crying. So I'm the type of person like I can go through things and I can deal with things, but the moment I have to speak on it, that's when I break. So I call my mom and I just start crying, and I'm like, she's gone. She got buried on June 1st, and I remember looking at me and saying, "Just because she's gone doesn't mean you can't come around." And I said, "I'll still come around." I've been to their house maybe once, and that was in '05. So 20 years ago. And that was because was selling Joe Corby's for one of the kids and was dropping pizza off. I see her brothers, and I different things, but they came to my wedding, and my daughter did cheer with their granddaughter too. I would see them sometimes there. We had so many memories together here too. I used to babysit her. I'd just sit there and brush. She always so she went through chemo and stuff like that when she was little, and she lost all her hair. But then when she was in remission and cancer free, like she had her hair, it was always, "Can you brush my hair? Can you do my hair? Can you brush my hair?" And I'd sit there and just brush her hair, and then I babysit them, and I mean that was just an adventure in itself. It was not only her and her cousin that I would have, and we had a good time. Like I tell people, I've been through a lot of deaths. I feel like I handle it or can handle it better than somebody that hasn't been through as much. But it doesn't get any easier.
Yeah,
It still hurts you and it still affects you with each one. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you've seen somebody die or how many times people have died and how many funerals you've been to. I learned to keep my composure and be able to be fine at funeral homes. Because I actually had my one cousin say to me, "Why the funeral?" He's like, "I don't know how you do it." I was like, "Do what?" He's like, "You never cry." I do, though.
Yeah.
I didn't say that to him, but I do, though. I just don't do it here with everybody to see.
You gotta be strong.
Right. Well, that's always been my thing too, and I think that's where my downfall is because I never let myself deal with a lot of it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what Jennifer, cut that out.
I just feel like you weren't around. You
Yeah.
weren't around. So no, I don't feel more sorry for you.
That's how I felt about Gary's kids. Like, who the f are y'all?
You chose not to be there when they needed you. I was always there.
You didn't get to experience this. Tell you, it goes one of two ways. Death brings either the best out of people or the worst out of people. Think though, like, about heaven and where do you think they go? Do they hang around?
So I don't know as far as the hanging around, as far as like being ghosts type of thing. I will say I've experienced some interesting things. So Westley passed when Zeke was 2 months old. And, you know, because every time I had a baby, I lost a brother.
Damn.
Zeke was 2 months old when he passed. Well, when Zeke was about 2 years old, he didn't really talk. Joseph, that boy could have whole conversations with you at a year old. Zeke, on the other hand, he wasn't ready. And whatever. I'm a firm believer every child is different. You can't judge one child over another. But he was coming down my steps and he looked back behind him and he's like, no, it's my food. And I'm like, what? So he get down because I had his food. He was coming down to eat. And he sits down and he looks back again. It's like, no, that's my food. And I'm like, well, who the hell are you talking to? And for him to be talking that clearly, because again, he didn't speak. And a couple minutes later, as clear as day, he looked at me and said, I'm fat boy. That's what we called my brother Wes. So it was like, and he never said it again. He didn't really speak. Yeah. Never said it again, but he looked at me and said, I'm fat boy. Like, okay.
I'm gonna eat your food. You better go get your food. I'm gonna eat your food.
But anyway, I was cleaning my whole house. You know, I go deep clean, scrubbing everything. I swear every time I find out something's wrong with somebody or something's going on, it's what I'm doing. I'm gonna stop cleaning. That's my next one. I can't clean anymore.
Can't get church, can't clean.
Every time I do something, I can't do it.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. So I was in my room and I hear this noise in the living room and I go running in and my dog, Smokey, jumps up at the TV and there's nothing on the TV. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Dog.
What is going on with you? I went back in and laid back down and my mom called and told me my brother Steven said. I was like, yeah, he was aggravating your ass. That's what it was. He was aggravating you. I want to believe they're with us in some kind of way. I believe in heaven. I believe that if nothing else, they're at least watching down on us. And maybe I believe in heaven more for selfish reasons because I don't want to believe that we just bury these people and they're in the ground and they're no longer with us or no longer around. And they do show different signs at some point. They'll let us know, hey, we're here. That's like when my cousin passed. It was crazy because when she was in the hospital, the soda vending machine, they were $1.10. And me and my aunt, the first time we went to the vending machine, I don't know if I didn't have change, like one or whatever it is. And my aunt was like, well, I'll get your soda. I was like, well, I have 10 cents in my pocket. Like, I had change. So every day I go to the hospital, I'd have change in my pocket and I'd pay the 10 cents and my aunt would pay the $1 for me. Well, the day Kim passed, we went to the vending machine. I didn't have my 10 cents. So I never got my soda, of course, anyway. It didn't matter to her. But after Kim passed, I went back to my mom's and dad's that night. I went for a walk around the block and spent the time on the ground. So she's still here.
Have you ever heard like hospice nurses, about the young one? But they said like there's this thing, no matter who, it could be an atheist, no matter what their religious beliefs are. I think they said like within the last 48 hours or something. Like it's a sign that they're getting ready to go soon. That they see deceased loved ones that do not believe in all of a sudden have somebody coming to get them within a couple days before they're gone.
Yeah.
Happens for all of them. So that's just, you know what I mean?
I've never heard that, but I believe it. I believe it.
There's some shit going on.
Yeah.
Some good shit.
Yeah. That's
what.
As we wrap up today's conversation, I hope you leave with one reminder. Grief doesn't have to look one certain way. Sometimes it sounds like tears, and sometimes it sounds like two friends laughing over memories of the brothers they wish were still here. Neither of us wanted to be members of the Dead Brothers Club. But if we have to be here, we're going to keep saying their names and telling their stories. If today's conversation reminded you of your own brother or sister, we'd love to hear about them. Visit Unfiltered, Unhealed.com and click on the Siblings tab to share your story, a letter, a memory, or even participate in a future episode. You can always remain anonymous if you wish. You can also join our Unhealed Siblings Facebook support group where surviving siblings come together to remember, support one another, and remind each other that we don't have to carry this alone. Thank you for spending this time with us. Until next time, keep saying their names and keep reminding the world they were here. Still here, still healing, still siblings. This is Unfiltered, Unhealed. We'll see you next time.